What's cracking? Josie Garfunkle. Let's learn some shit. So in this video, I'm going to show you quickly how to change the loot on your events, specifically example the helicopter crash events. Got some other things going on. We'll check all that out. Let's jump into this. Alright, so for starters, we have an event and an event spawn, just so we can test what we're doing here. Set up a standard event, gone over this many times in other videos, and the child this time is going to be the helicopter crash that we want. And then a desired spawn location so we can test it. Spawn in beside it, wherever you need to be. You know, you want to make it a 0 radius and such, short lifetime, yada yada. Flags deletable is what makes the loot disappear with the event when it goes away. So if you want to test your loot, you want to keep that 1 so it cycles the loot each time it goes and comes. If you turn that off, the event will disappear and the loot will stay. This is undesired results. And again, event spawn, rotation -1, so it randomizes. I'm on the map Kinsey, so I'm over here in a random field, whatever. So we have our event, we have our event spawn. So the limits definition is where all the tags are essentially born that you see throughout all the files. In the vanilla case of the helicopter that we're using, UH1Y, it uses the usage tag military. As you can see in the usage flags, usage name military. And let's take a look in the types file. You'll see various weaponry and military gear will be tagged with these usage tags military. Well, also in a types entry, you have this long string here. This is very important for many different things in the game. You never want to turn this to 0 being off, 1 being on. You want it to always be counted in the map. That tells this entry to respect these nominal values. And for this scenario, deloot is what we're going to look at. You'll see a lot of them have zeros. Well, that's telling it off. Do not be deloot. What is deloot? Dynamic event loot. The loot that goes on dynamic events. Our helicopter, static. It is a dynamic event. So let's make that a 1 on anything that you want to be used for a dynamic event. And we're going to create a custom tag for this proto. We're going to change it up so it accepts nothing for our test. And we're going to put insert name here for whatever you want it to be. This is the demonstration I've already tested and used anyway. But you can make the name whatever you want because we're going to create them. Control S to save. And then we're going to move to our map group proto. We're going to change that also to the new name. That way this usage tag is calling the types to go for this structure or entity, whatever. And then the limits. We want to create it in here so the rest of the files will recognize them. It must be in this file for the files to recognize them. Control S to save. And now that we have our event, for testing purposes, of course, our event spawn, so we know where it's going to be, our new tag in limits definitions, our new tag for the proto in our map group proto, and we have tagged some types with this new tag and marked them for dynamic event loot on in our types.xml file. Now, let's connect our Nitrado server to our FTP service, and we're going to navigate to our missions. We're going to upload all those. If you use a notepad, right click, explore here. It's going to bring you directly to your file path. Makes it a lot easier to get to your files than going through the browser itself. And one by one, upload your proto where it goes. Your limits definition is going to go in here. Your event spawns. And then you're going to open the DB. You're going to navigate to the DB folder, upload your events and your types so your changes take hold. I've already done this, but just want to walk you through it. Don't know how new the audience is. Once you're done with that, simply going to click restart. You're going to restart your server. I assume most of the audience is possibly console, so Nitrado is the service you're going to be using. It's the service I'm going to demonstrate with. What I'm sticking with for now. Alright, we're back here on the server. Right here at our test event. It's a little spot that I kind of set up on Kimsey. And here's our helicopter crash. Now these teddy bears are a modded item I made, and they, as well as the water bottle, are on here because they don't have a usage. You can look in the types file, water bottle doesn't use one. It can go anywhere with food. Here we go. We have an LAR and the FAMAS, as we saw marked in the types file. The FAL, LAR, FAMAS, FAMAS, however you pronounce that one, and dynamic event loot, and the new usage tag. So we have those weapons here, and you could do this with anything. You could do it with specific clothing, eyewear, helmets, obviously weaponry, whatever you could think of. Sea chests, and then spawnable types. Oh, that's right, 0 radius. As you can see, it took the loot with it because flags deletable is on. So yeah, custom loot on helis. Just make you a test event to make sure it all works before you set it off into the wild, but create you a tag in the limits definition. Add that tag to whatever proto you want to use. You could also use multiples, so like you could really keep military and just tag some extras. Call it military extras if you want, whatever you could think of. Just make sure it's registered in the definitions. Tag your proto for which structure you want to have that loot on. And then since it will be a dynamic event loot, make sure those entries that are tagged with it in the types.xml have the dloot toggle to 1 for on. Custom loot on events. You could do this for any event. Again, demo for the helicopter as requested in a comment. Tell me what else you want to learn, man. Let's learn some shit. But that's it for this one. Hope y'all learned some shit. I'm out.